Welcome back to the Too Much Dip podcast. My name is Dave. I'm going to host today. Joining me in studio, as always, it is none other than Dylan Shivery. It took me a minute, man. I didn't recognize you.
Yeah. Look, I got a fresh face, got a full tum-tum, I got a Lucy in the upper lip.
Can't lose.
I'm ready to podcast at a high level today.
Sounds like you're ready to rock.
It's also content week.
Well, it's a big week for all of us, really.
Which is basically that's just a week where we produce content.
Yes.
But we celebrate it.
But we're the only ones who have the guts to put a name on it.
That's right.
Here's a guy with some guts. Used to call himself the Gut Crusher. Never understood what that meant. I think he just was a global guts participant. It's KJ. What? Did you not participate in global guts?
Big fan, huge fan. Yeah. I should be a professional and able to handle things like that, but I have to admit that I was busy confirming that there was no problematic tie-in to me saying that Dylan looks like a young Mario Van Peebles, who in my mind is a strikingly good-looking man. And I knew like Dylan would then go look up Mario Van Peebles of New Jack City and other movies famed.
Oh.
But I didn't want the first thing that pop up to be like something problematic, and there's nothing.
The jawline on this fella is quite impressive, so thank you for that.
Oh yeah.
Not Caucasian,
yeah,
which is interesting.
I will say that maybe one of his most well-known movies, it would be very unfortunate to watch here in this month of November. So I would just stay clear of his 1991 seminal hit, New Jack City.
It is No Jack November.
Correct.
Okay.
It all ties in,
like
KJ.
What,
like
Randy?
it.
You got something to say?
Reset the old calendar.
I mean, I think you can jack. I just think you just have to edge yourself there.
Okay.
See, when you say it, it just makes me uncomfortable.
Hey, listen here, Jack.
New Jack City is a good movie. I haven't seen it. That's one of those movies I think I saw when I was way too young to see it. And
Yep,
I haven't seen it
never went
since. And I remember being like, oh, that was awesome. No clue. It could have sucked for all I know, but it's got that's Wesley Snipes, right?
100%.
He looks sick
And
on
I'll
the
add
cover.
to that it's probably one of the first movies that I'd seen like portions of it via VHS and then portions of it via TNT or something, and quickly realized that cable television editing was the absolute worst. But I'll let people go discover that for themselves. We had a week of sports that your boy is very aged to get to.
I have an announcement. It's a show
no.
announcement regarding the Thursday night football live stream presented by DraftKings. The announcement is, if you are looking for the audio, if for some reason you could not watch the stream live on Thursday at 6:30 Central, you used to be able to get it on our podcast feed. However, going forward, that will not be available. We made an in-house decision to keep that on YouTube. Gives you guys more incentive to go subscribe to our YouTube page, which is, Randy,
YouTube.com/too-much-dip or Too Much Dip podcast. I'm not sure. One of the two.
Just too much dip.
there's our guy.
Just too much dip.
Just too much dip. So go do that. We've had some great guests. We had Philly Dan, Delco Dan on last week. A couple weeks before, we had Brent Rooker, noted MLB All-Star. Go check it out. Go watch it. It's more of a visual thing anyway. So I highly recommend. Please go subscribe. No stream this week, but next week we will be back with a live stream and a guest who will surely blow your little pants off.
Oh.
A big game too. Bengals Ravens.
I think the Bengals have figured it out, guys.
More on that later.
Slow starters, those Joe Burrow led Bengals.
That's right, man. People were beginning to wonder. What else? Go subscribe to our social media pages. That's a really outdated way of saying it. Go check us out on Instagram and Twitter is what I'm trying to tell you.
Add us on the Grom.
You could subscribe to it, but yeah, add us on the Grom, add us on Twitter. Too Much Dip Pod, Too Much Dip Podcast. Check it out. Got some good stuff going there. Um, Man, I can't get past the Mario Van Peebles thing. Now that I just looked up like what Mario Van Peebles looked like in the early '90s, he does. You guys both have a very, very striking jawline, Dylan.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate that. Again, I don't feel like myself. I don't recognize the man staring back at me in the mirror. But it's only been it's been about it's been about 2 days now. So I'm still getting used to it.
I have days like that. You know,
Days
just-
like these, man.
you look in the mirror and you're like, "Who am I? How did I get here?"
Every morning, Dave.
You may find yourself, living in a shotgun shack. You don't know. It looks good though. Did you shave it post Cowboys last night, like in a fit of anger?
I did it Saturday when I got home from the Texas-Kansas State game.
Mm.
I wanted to do it before, but I didn't want to go face all those people with a fresh face. It would have been too shocking for everyone in the stadium. So I waited till I got home.
They put you on the big screen.
So I could just live with it by myself for a little bit and like, man, okay. This is what I'm working with underneath all that really bad facial hair.
They toss you up and it starts distracting the players.
People start throwing up everywhere.
Malik's like, who
Would've
is
been
that?
that bad.
Dylan? Is that Dorn?
Can't recognize them.
The fuck? He's here at the
I
game.
figured it was bullying from Hot Colin and Drew and their baby smooth faces that just kind of pressured you into it.
Those guys, man.
They do have baby smooth faces.
That was quite the crew down there. Just absolutely chopping it up. That's all I had to say about that.
okay.
Well, I was waiting on David to see if he had any strong thoughts about the group, but I'll agree. Great looking fellas and Will.
The group. It's a great group. One day I'll get the invite to hang out with that group. Until then,
I don't either.
Whatever.
They just happened to be sitting in the same section I was in, so I went down to say hi. That was it.
Those seats, man. You had good seats too.
I had great seats. I was 40 rows up.
It was
40
cool
yard
that you
line.
didn't have to sit front row because your son wasn't with you.
Right. I wouldn't be able to tell him that.
Yeah.
To crush.
No, he'd be very bummed.
Yeah.
KJ, what'd you do this weekend?
Okay. This weekend in Mad City here, it was an electric weekend of a lot of nothing. An absolute just banger of hitting all the highlights. Parks, straightening up the house, getting ready for all the holiday season. In all seriousness, it was a well-deserved, well-needed weekend of okay, before winter actually hits, what shit do I actually need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Turn off the water for the outside of the house, do all those little things. Make sure kids have gloves, all those sorts of things. The stuff you don't really consider when you don't have real seasons in Texas. Had to check a lot of those things off the list. So as boring as it is certainly one of those things that at the end of the weekend, you're like, I feel pretty squared away. Feel pretty, ready for whatever, happens the next 2 months weather-wise. So lame, whatever, but that's the highlight.
Yeah. I guess I never really thought about all the stuff you have to do in preparation for what will undoubtedly be a bad winter. I feel like most of them are bad there.
A cold winter, not bad.
Bad.
No bad weather.
Okay.
Only bad clothes.
Got it. Yeah, I had to break down some boxes over the weekend, which is I open the door and I just they pile up and they start to blend in so you don't notice them, and then one day you open that door and there's like 35 boxes because baby clothes, upcoming baby clothes, stuff for roads, and then there's of course the one giant TV box that I'm just dreading, and I still have yet to break that one down. But that's I can respect a guy who does some stuff around the house on the weekend. This guy.
Am I I don't know, I've seen the millennial memes on it, but after the nightmare of moving from Texas to Wisconsin, having my TV leaned on like a candy bar, some movers put it on its edge and bent the shit out of and broke it. I've just stored away the box for the TV that replaced that one for whatever next move comes in the future. In my situation, that's known to be within the next 6 months, but I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of a TV box if I have the storage room anytime
Dude,
soon.
Talk to this guy. Talk to Dylan about a TV move.
Yeah. I've lost 2 televisions over the past 2 years. One of them I just flat out dropped trying to hang on the wall. Second one, it happened during the move. I have no idea how it happened or who was handling it when it did happen. But yeah, a box, if you have the room for it, probably not a bad idea to hang on to it. That is the best way for it to travel. But the movers, they wrapped in a blanket, they did the whole thing. I still have no idea how it happened.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep going back to this, but you didn't hire the hunks.
I know that's where I messed up.
So it's like
Glaring lack of hunk blood on my couch and a broken
Yeah.
TV. So
there was no hunk blood, to my knowledge.
look, there's not hunk blood. There was no work being done.
No. That's how you know. It's worth every penny.
Yeah.
Every penny. You know what's worth every penny? It's our good friends at Nutrafol.
Ooh, yes.
You don't have to choose between better hair growth and your health. Nutrafol provides a whole body health approach for men that promotes healthier hair, no drugs, no compromises, just better hair. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Dylan, you shaved your face, but I feel like when you did that, it's really showcasing the visible scalp coverage that you've got over the last couple years.
Yeah, thank you. I have a lid on it now where I'd show you the lettuce. But yeah, I've been taking Nutrafol routinely for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a noticeable difference in the thickness of my hair, and low key also just feel a little bit better as well. It has other benefits besides the hair growth.
Nutrafol's hair growth supplements use physician-formulated, natural, science-backed ingredients. Their drug-free, patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising your sexual health. Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting root causes of thinning such as stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism through whole body health. And most importantly, it works. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months taking Nutrafol men's hair growth supplements. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter the promo code BANG. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men, spelled Nutrafol.com/men, and enter promo code BANG. Nutrafol.com/men, promo code BANG. I did watch some in-season tourney. I don't know about you guys, but my Friday night was pretty much centered around this in-season tourney.
Did it feel any different than watching like a regular season NBA basketball game?
It did, because the courts were all fucking crazy. Like,
They need to get rid of that shit, man.
you don't like the bit court?
It's very unpleasing to the eye. It's like some Nickelodeon shit.
It did look like some Nickelodeon shit. That's a great way to put it.
Thank you.
The announcers had the audacity to try to compare the consistent like NCAA courts when you're watching March Madness, and it's like the black trim and like light blue letters. It'll say Nashville, or it'll say Rutgers, or wherever the game is being played at. So at a glance, you kind of know what part of the bracket you're looking at. They compared those two things to what was by far something that should have remained a suggested example in PDF form in an email chain. That should have not gotten to a yes to the point of production. And when it was installed, somebody should have walked out there and said, no, start over. Just no, pull this shit up. Go back. It was atrocious. What game did you see first? Which color court did you see first?
The only game I watched start to finish, it was Mavs Nuggets. Mavs were in Denver. Their only loss of the season. Maybe some people are saying like the pressure of the tournament maybe got to the Mavs, like just kind of knowing you're a part of something greater than yourself. I would be cool with a uniform new court. You see what I'm saying? To where every playoff,
Yeah.
that's going to be the court. Maybe that's what you were getting to.
Mhm.
Like, and if it's got some wacky bits in it, okay, but the yellow and blue that the Nuggets rolled out, it was distracting. It was distracting, and I thought I would get used to it, and I really never did.
Yeah, they're really bad.
The experience I had, I left one thing off of what I did this weekend. I went to local brew house for dinner Thursday night. and very shocked and happy to see that around the bar, every single TV was on local high school volleyball. Like it was first or second round of playoffs, but that's what was being shown during Thursday night football, which initially I was like, oh, well, it's Thursday night football. It's on Prime. Some bars don't have that. You're not going to show some spare college game, whatever. No, they're showing high school volleyball, red and blue courts. I was like, that's kind of weird. Took a picture. The next night, I saw Chicago's court. Looks like Eastern Washington's football field, blood red everywhere, to the point where you can't see the 3-point line. You can hardly see half of the players' like numbers at a glance. And I did a disservice to myself by watching the red zone equivalent, Crunch Time, on NBA TV. And I don't know if you've watched this recently or checked it out Friday, but the guy running it, they did a valiant effort. They tried hard, but the guy apparently was told at every end of every segment, he had to do like a Micah Weiner-esque, it's crunch time.
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
Every single segment ended that way. Not just like when it got to the witching hour, like everything ended that way. So I had one blood red court, and then not the Nuggets one. It was the Warriors, like the slate blue court or something going on. The worst thing I've ever seen. And this is from somebody who loves like tricked out like uniform approaches. This is terrible.
I'm not against trying this. I applaud the NBA for trying something new, but
The tournament, you mean?
the tournament as a whole, the court thing, I'm assuming they're going to stick with it for the year, but I doubt that that's back next year. Even the KJ sent a link earlier, like the players are very unfamiliar with what the stakes are here, even though there is a financial reward should your team get to, make it through the knockout round. Like you could be compensated, whatever. It is very confusing. Because then it's like, oh yeah, Mavs, man, it's tough they lost. And then like the day after next, they just have a regular game. And I guess they've got another game Friday. It's the only thing I can tell you is if you just look at the schedule and if there's a little trophy next to the game, that's an in-season playoff game, in-season tourney game. I have to say a great point was raised. Why didn't they name it something? Why is it just NBA in-season tournament?
Probably because they wouldn't be associated with these damn courts. And do y'all remember, or did you see what the name of the trophy is?
What is the trophy?
The NBA Cup.
It's good. Who came up with that? Question. So the in-season tournament, it's not like a 3-day tournament and it's done. Like it goes on. Like it's intermittent.
Correct.
Okay.
Friday through, I think, Christmas, because there is a stop down around Christmas. Maybe they still protected like what is a very valuable asset to the NBA, like Christmas Day games being a big deal. I think maybe like the 21st through the 23rd or something like that, or 20th through 23rd. There's a break in all of the NBA schedule where they do a semifinal game and a championship game for the in-season tournament. So there is a break where all the other teams will get some time off, but that's when it's going to feel like you're getting a tourney. Everything else playing up to it is going to feel really disjointed until players care about being involved in that or having days off. I don't know.
It's going to be really funny to see when like this thing's over and somebody wins it, like the reactions, like who's going to like play into it as if they just did something like remarkable.
They're going to cut the nets down?
You got to think there could be some net cutting. Yes. But like if Jokic,
That would be great.
They need to do some kind of bit, especially, when you're hoisting the NBA Cup.
I think champagne's the only answer. And you should do champagne after the semis in the NBA Cup and in the play-in like championship game. Now I'm on board.
I hope the Mavs just do it after every like random pool play game. Like they win. They go in there and it's like full on goggles. Just follow the Rangers lead, Creed blaring. Why not?
Yeah, these guys, I don't think they care at all about this.
The one thing I will say is it was likely just a coincidence, and the NBA is that good when the players are interested. I would say aside from the Mavericks Nuggets, the games were all very close. I
Yeah.
watched the end of a Chicago Bulls game because it was, very exciting. The Warriors game was very exciting, which, people watch Warriors. And I think tonight you've got another slate. I don't know if they're all in-season tournament games, but the NBA was very proud to say you've got like Wemby, Steph Curry, Luka, and the fourth one. Oh, LeBron. I was going to say the fourth one's escaping me, but like they're like all of our stars are playing Monday night. Like tune in. So this is earlier in the season than I've ever cared to talk about the NBA. So mission accomplished, I
There you go.
guess.
Good point.
Yeah. Good job. We should probably just talk about the National Football League while we're here.
Brum, 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 brum.
I guess the big game yesterday, there was a couple big games. You had Cowboys, Eagles. You also had Bills, Bengals.
Yep.
Dolphins, Chiefs.
Dolphins, Chiefs in Germany. Man, that doesn't. I can't tell you how much I hated that. Because I'm still like, at that point in the morning, I'm still like that's prime Bluey time. So I'm not getting to watch that on TV. So I'm like trying to pay attention to my son, but I'm also trying to follow what is on paper a very, very big and important matchup between two contenders on my phone while trying to also be a good dad. And like my son even called me out. He's like, Dad, I think at one point he said, Dad, talk to me. I was like, Jesus, dude. Just trying to, I got a
I'm not
sports show.
laughing at you, but
We do a
there's-
sports show.
Did you
son.
see all the germs singing along to John Denver?
No, that's very cool though.
Yeah, Take Me Home, Country Roads. They played it over the loudspeaker, and everyone joined in. I don't know if they had the words up on a screen somewhere, but everyone was singing along and knew the words.
Is he still pretty big over there?
I don't know. I don't know if John Denver plays in Munich,
Mm.
Berlin.
Well, noted home country of David Hasselhoff and how much of like I don't know if you can call them like yacht rock anthems or whatever. Like he's all into the singing cheesy songs, and I think Dirk has that affinity too. I think it's just a German thing where they've got like some random 80s, 90s songs that they just won't let go of.
If you release a song and people who don't speak your language know the words, you've done something there. That's pretty freaking cool. So, hat tip John Denver. Fred on, good sir.
He's been dead for many years.
Yeah, he's not going to hear this.
You
I'm
could
just-
still tip your cap to him.
Yeah, of course.
Like towards the heavens.
Fred
Unless
on.
you think he might not be there.
Fred on, sir.
You think John Denver's in heaven? I do.
Yeah, sure.
KJ, what about you?
Totally.
Let's get mad at Dak.
No. Dak played
I'm in too many
really
group
well.
texts. I'm in too many group texts who want to talk football, and I'm about to retire from group text.
I've been really down on Dak this season. I wasn't down on him yesterday. He played a good ball game. He made a couple of boneheaded. He took some sacks that you just absolutely cannot take.
I
He's really
disagree.
good at taking a 12-yard sack, 10-yard sack.
people on the all right. We're just going to jump right to the final drive, in which they had a 1st and 5 from the 6, I believe. People were like, that was immediately with my group text, like, dude, throw the ball away. He's in the pocket, and like, I don't know what people like. Grounding is a very real thing. I saw like smart sports people on my timeline pointing that out. Like, you can't like, here's his receivers, here are the DBs covering those receivers. He would have to throw a very high risk pass to throw it away, or risk interception, or also risk a grounding call, which would have effectively ended the game.
Not from that close to the end zone, though.
But-
That's the easiest part of the field to throw it away. You
I
guys
mean-
throw it through the end zone in the vicinity of anyone, basically, and it works.
Can you throw it out the back of the end zone from inside the pocket?
Of course.
Okay.
As long as it's, over the head of a receiver, like in that direction.
Based on everything I've seen, I'm not going to hold the sacks against him. I'm going to hold it against the right tackle, who's terrible.
I mean, that wasn't.
Yeah.
He took a few sacks that game. They were absolutely just drive killers that you can't take. That's been my biggest problem with him this season. Actually, is just taking sacks that just are unavoidable I'm sorry, avoidable. And they're not 2-3 yard sacks. They're like drive killing 10-yard sacks. And he does it so frequently. It's frustrating. He played a really good game though.
He was sacked 5 times yesterday. 4 of those came from the right tackle,
Terrence Steele.
Terrence Steele, who is a guy they paid coming off of knee surgery and has not been good all year. He's been okay at times, but like I got really tired of defending Dak. People were like, "Oh, he's just that's classic Dak," and I'm like, "Yeah, man. Like he was balling. He did not turn the ball over yesterday.
balled.
That's probably a big reason why you see him taking more sacks because to not get into trouble, trying to throw the ball away or trying to force something. So it could go both ways. But that being said, like you went on the road, Philly's either the best team or the second best team in the NFC. You had a good chance to beat them. They basically tried to hand you the game. You failed. But like it's not the end of the world.
Absolutely. You never want to lose to a division rival, obviously, but this one hurt the least of like in recent memory because they may have even outplayed Philadelphia throughout the game. Philadelphia is really good. It was in Philly. They had several chances to actually win the game at the end there. They looked good. I mean, they did. It didn't turn out the right way. That 2-point conversion where Dak stepped out, that sucked.
That sucked, but
That touchdown that was called a touchdown and then was overturned because it went down to like the 6-inch yard line.
Schoonmaker,
That's a tough break too.
former Wolverine.
And this sounds like a, what's that? When you
Moral victory.
thank you. Sounds like a moral victory, and maybe it is, but I'm pleased with the way they looked.
I am too, and I'm wondering how much of that is because that we're for Dylan and I, for Ranger fans, like you're coming off a World Series, so you're still kind of like whatever, nothing can hurt me right now. But you, Philly's good. I don't think they're great. I think San Francisco's when healthy is still like really really good and a full tier above. Um, I don't know, man. Philly has to come here at the end of the season, or I guess in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whenever it is. KJ, I don't know if you watched the game, but you look like you are taking issue with something we've said here.
I feel that this game, if anything, like it emphasized that Philly is good. Like they had an absolute meltdown on that final drive, and they were able to come away with a win. Not like everything was just their doing. The Cowboys had some minor mishaps, but it was embarrassing for them to go 3 and out with the position the Cowboys put themselves in with the clock at the end of the game. Or I'm getting 2 games mixed up, I think. But with the game-deciding plays being that touchdown and the 2-point conversion, the final drive would have still been a situation where it's like Cowboys have to get in field goal position. And it was defensive penalties that essentially like got them there, and defensive like blown coverages and injuries that got them there. Like everything that could go wrong until those sacks went wrong for the Eagles, and they held on. I think that the Cowboys played much better than they did at San Francisco, who I think San Francisco in current state has more question marks for me than the Eagles. I think the scariest thing about it is like, if the Cowboys had won at San Francisco, people would be unquestionably more forgiving about this game than I think they are right now. They didn't. They got embarrassed. The Cowboys dropped this game, even as hard as close of a game that it was. You're still now at best splitting with the Eagles and 1 game behind the Niners when it comes to having a shot at the bye. You only get 1 bye in the playoffs. Having a shot at home field advantage over one of those other 2 teams. If one is to take the bye and you're to, I guess with the Eagles, you couldn't be tied because it would be a conference or division champion situation, but like it's going to matter. I just feel like that's one of those where they showed that they had the weapons. Tolbert showed up. Schoonmaker made a play. Ferguson has like developed into a competent athlete. I shouldn't say competent athlete, but like a usable Tool, which wasn't the case early in the season. Like they had so many promising signs and they didn't come away with a win. That would worry me. Like everything went right and they came up short.
Yeah. I don't know. My biggest issue with that is offensive line, and they really don't have a consistent running attack. But to be fair, Philly's run defense is, if not the best, one of the best in the league. But that being said, it's like Dak had to like throw 49 passes or something. Didn't even get close to throwing a pick. I don't know, man. It's just a weird. It's a
Eagles
weird game.
secondary,
Gettable.
very, yeah. Like I think they're middle of the league when it came to like man coverage going into this, and they came out in man coverage, and there were all kinds of quotes about the final drive where they had players running on the field not knowing the play, and so they said, "Get back." Like, I don't understand how you're the Eagles and you have those kind of mishaps. They've got to get that straight. If I was an Eagles fan, I'd be just as pissed off about this win as I would be as a Cowboys fan with the loss.
Yeah. I don't know. If you look at the next few games, I guess Philly's got a bye, but then they've got the Chiefs, they've got the Bills, they've got a pretty tough schedule. Cowboys have Washington, the Giants. Daniel Jones tore his ACL, something I completely missed until this morning. Not that would have mattered that much, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just one of those games where I'm like defending Dak, and then I'm like, man, yeah, I'm looking at other stuff, and I don't know how to feel, and I'm like, man, am I being too much of a homer? Like being like a little bit pleased with how the offense looked as a whole, but then they lose in the most Cowboys way possible, like ending up with where do they get backed up to? Like the 25, the 30, something crazy. It's like, okay. Like, what are we doing here? And then they get the ball to CD on like the 5, and there's nobody. I don't know what that play was. If they thought that they were gonna, like, somebody's got to be there for a potential lateral. If that's where you're throwing it.
I didn't hate the decision because of how the Eagles played the plays before that and that play. Like the Eagles just basically lined up at the goal line and in the end zone. And I do think there's an opportunity in some of these Hail Mary situations to like do what Dak did and throw it to somebody as a crosser, not that shallow as a crosser, but like crossing the back of the end zone or in the end zone, as opposed to like the Hail Mary to one spot jump ball, or throwing it to somebody in stride while they're streaking. So they're catching it with an ability to like make a move laterally. CD's catching it essentially with his back to the end zone, having to turn and then try to make that move. That wasn't going to happen. Again, without a lateral like that wasn't going to happen. So I don't hate that he threw it short. I just hate that he threw it to a short crosser or to, somebody in a position not to be making a move.
And make no mistake, I'm not hating on Philly. I still think they're good. I think if San Francisco stays injury prone, which they are, like the Philly's probably going back to the Super Bowl, because I don't really know who outside who's. I mean, Detroit, Philly, San Francisco. Those are your top 3. I don't know.
Yep, Eagles at 8-1. You've got Niners and Seahawks tied at 5-3. Lions at 6-2. Josh Dobbs and the Vikings at 5-4, and then Saints at 5-4. So Eagles also. I'm sorry, Cowboys 5-3 as well. So I don't know what you want to take from it at this point, but as you said, the road ahead is a lot tougher for the Eagles after 3 games. They could easily be tied or in second place just based on who they're playing versus the Cowboys. The Cowboys schedule's going to be looked at as a joke.
Did you see? Did you think Jalen Hurts' knee was absolutely just destroyed when he got rolled up on like that?
Yeah.
That dude, that's a testament to a guy who squats like 600 pounds. Like that guy is legitimately built different, because that would have ended a number of careers.
Yeah. I thought he was probably going to be out for at least the rest of the game.
He came right back in.
Yeah.
That dude's a beast.
He is.
Any takes you'd like to look back upon? And
No, I think I've been pretty fair throughout this whole situation. Yeah. No, he's actually pretty good. Turns out, pretty good.
I do want to spend a brief moment on the Houston Texans.
Yes, I watched a lot of this game.
And how it reflects on a loss that I was very sad about to the Texans as a Jags fan early on. CJ Stroud's incredible to watch. Not that surprised about Tank Dell, receiver out of Houston. Last year, Houston and SMU played in that 71-69 game, and Tank Dell had like 260 yards. Like the guy was an automatic, touchdown every time he touched it. Whatever. It's just really interesting to see a team that nobody had any expectations of, me included, have two rookies that can produce at that point. 470 yards and 5 touchdowns. It's not like the Bucks are like elite, but Todd Bowles is not an idiot. They've got some injuries. They're not a great defense, but they've got some names. So that was fun to see. And I mean this all as a Jags fan and as a fantasy football owner of CJ Stroud. So thank you.
Not just the numbers that were super impressive, but the last drive was like clutch on top of just being like really efficient, really good with the ball. Unbelievable game, and all that from a rookie. I did not see that coming at all from him this season. He's been good all season, but that game was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Dave, did you see the kicker?
I did. I did not see how their kicker got hurt or what happened there, but I did see the guy whose name escapes me kicking.
Dare Ogunbowale. And I'm
Mhm.
probably mispronounced that, but as he is a University of Wisconsin alum, I should have probably had that down. I did discover right before we started recording, he is the brother of Enrique Ogunbowale, who's a WNBA star and Dallas Wing,
Right.
noted top paid player in the WNBA.
Athletic family, it turns out.
Surprised you didn't know that, Dylan.
Well,
The two of us
Fair
learned it about 40 minutes ago.
fair enough, Dave.
Yeah. So their punter is not available to do that. Like I guess that's classic dumb guy thinking the punter would just step in. They do the kicking thing as well with their
Who's
foot.
going to hold, I guess, is the issue.
Do they have?
Good point.
Is it predetermined? Like, okay, who's our emergency kicker, or is it just like, okay, who can kick?
It's gotta
in the middle of
be-
the game. Like who can make a field goal for us? And like that dude's like, I can't. Surely they have like an emergency option.
Next man up.
Yeah,
Next foot up.
I remember
You got a
Ocho
sign-up
Cinco.
sheet on the locker room as they go into half, and they're like, "Hey, just in case, can somebody put their name down?"
Ocho Cinco he had a couple extra points in his day. I remember.
Yeah, he's a footy guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. No, that's. Hey, look, that's cool. Anytime you can get that action, and then usually that's not a good sign. But when you do that and your team still wins, that's pretty cool. It's a cool trick to have.
That was a go-ahead field goal too. And
yeah,
then
it was an
apparently
important 3 points.
he had like a kickoff that went to the 10 at first, which nothing to be ashamed about. And then next kickoff he had went out the back of the end zone. That's the part where I was confused. Like, can't your punter do kickoffs? Field goals, I can understand. Like if you've got a backup quarterback, you're not confident about the hold. A lot of coaches probably would have just said go for 2, but clearly D'Amico Ryan's rookie coach knew what the hell to do here.
I love
Shouts to
that
them.
dude. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, I'm jealous of CJ Stroud. Dude.
Yeah,
he's
Texans.
He's a baller.
Texans fans have something to be happy about, to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
I did not because I texted my Houston friends. I was like, "Well, where are y'all at on this? Like, are y'all in like kind of like, all right, let's win now, or is it kind of like let's not win so many games, go get our get a better pick?" But they don't have their pick, which I completely forgot about. Per the Will Anderson trade, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong there. Football guy here. Oh, KJ.
Uh-oh.
KJ was so disgusted with what I said. He's just
He
gone.
dropped. He's out of here, man.
Yeah, I think it was part of that Will Anderson Jr. trade. Final thoughts on the NFL? Anybody?
No.
Doesn't sound like we've got any.
Bengals
Don't
looking
think so.
strong.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what's looking strong. My bank account. Why?
Oh, good for you.
Well, it helps that I've got my good friends at Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about, and chances are you're one of them. Like that Stars app just to watch one show, or that free gaming trial you never actually used. I've been paying for a live service, video game service that we might have all used very, very frequently during the pandemic that I haven't used in a while. Hopped onto Rocket Money and saw that I was still paying for it. And I was kind of embarrassed. I was embarrassed to see that I'd been paying for that all this time and not using it at all.
Well, what if I told you you're one of over 3 million people who have saved at least 700 or around $720 a year by using Rocket Money? So you're not alone, Dave.
That makes me feel a lot better
We're
about
almost
it.
all guilty of this.
Rocket Money will quickly and easily find your subscriptions for you. And for any you don't want to pay for anymore, just hit cancel and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's that easy. Rocket Money also helps you manage your finances in one place and automatically categorize your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/bang. That's rocketmoney.com/bang. rocketmoney.com/bang. So we didn't get to talk World Series outside of the live stream. And we've talked about it plenty. We talked about it on Circling Back. We did talk about it a little bit with Dan on Thursday. Again, you can check that audio out on YouTube. I do want to talk about the parade, as the parade did happen on Friday in KJ's hometown of Arlington, Texas. And I just want to get his thoughts because it looked like it went through like his old stomping grounds, like areas of the town where like he just kind of dominated, like his old haunts. KJ, what were your thoughts?
I am just so pleased that the world got a chance to observe Truck Month in Arlington, Texas, something we take very seriously. A little disappointed that it was Truck Month presented by Toyota and not GM, as GM has had a auto assembly plant in Arlington for 4 decades. It was just everything I would imagine it would be. 500,000 people show up to a town that has a city that has no public transportation to watch no buses. Like, it was so perfect. At the end of the day, it was moving to see as like a Arlington native. And it was a weird sentiment that I kept trying to explain to the woman that also pays bills in this house. Like, I don't know that I would have gone through the emotions of seeing this event happen. And my first thought was like, about who else am I happy for? Like, if the Mavs win, I'm not going to be excited for Dave or somebody else who's a Mavericks fan. A, because they've won recently, and B, because like I consider myself a Mavs fan as well. I don't think that's as unique. I don't even know if I'd feel that way about the Cowboys win, mostly because of the fan base and because they've had success. But for the Rangers, like, my immediate thought was like, man, this is special for all these Rangers fans and people who had to watch this team be terrible for decades. So it was a good experience.
Yeah, I was experiencing some FOMO that I didn't drive up for it. I had a couple friends who went, Flounder included. And then I watched it and I was like, dude, this is cool. This is cool. Not the actual parade part, because that was just weird. It's just parking lots all leading up to the stadium. But the stuff when they finally got everybody up there on the platform, and that was cool. And the crowd showed out. I was fine watching the majority of it at home.
Who was your MVP?
A lot of people want to
Nate
go.
Lowe?
A lot of people want to go Corey Seager. I'm gonna go Nate Lowe.
What did Sigs do?
Friend of a friend of the show. Seager had the line. He had the
yes.
Bregman line, which is actually a Kanye West line. A lot of people forget about that. I wonder what percentage of people realized that what he was doing there was a reference to a Kanye award show line. Anyway, not important.
Only real ones.
Only real ones. But yeah, Nate Lowe only because, like, before the parade, you're like, if there's going to be one guy who kind of goes wild ass, who's it going to be? I think most people would have said Nate Lowe or Scherzer, but Scherzer had his family there and like his little girls. So, he kind of had to play it straight. Nate Lowe was just pounding beers, ripping his shirt off. I don't know if you saw the video. Surely you've seen the video with somebody from the crowd tossing him a beer. Somebody from the same crowd tossing him one at an extremely high velocity that smoked that truck. I don't know if you noticed that. It could have gone south real quick. But it was Nate Lowe. It was Nate Lowe. The Corey Seager moment. It was cool because it was Corey Seager, a guy who doesn't really talk to the media much, and when he does, he tends to be the most generic athlete guy.
Yeah, you can tell when he delivered that line to microphone. He didn't say it with his chest. Like he's a little shy. Shy is probably not the word.
He did
but
like the little kid thing where like you say something and you kind of duck
Yeah,
off, like, "Oh my
like,
god, I just did
yeah,
that,"
he
and
didn't,
you
he didn't
like
feel super comfortable doing
you
that.
run off
but
to the boys and like just kind of hide amongst them.
He hits piss missiles though.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely does. KJ, do you know anybody who went?
A handful of people. Before I'd even tuned in, because it wasn't dominating local television coverage up here. Surprise. We were more focused on Craig Counsell leaving the Brewers to take, at that point, didn't know where it was going to go, the Cubs job. But seeing text roll in and photos roll in, complaining about the trucks, complaining about the setup, and then some like differing opinions of like, okay, can you acquire beverages anywhere? Any of those things? Like people were complaining about random things. And then I see it on TV and how it was laid out. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way you're setting up a festival like around a circular situation like they did. It should have just been kind of one linear parade and knocked it all out. But at least you had good weather.
Weather
Could have
looked
been a lot
great.
worse.
Weather looked great. We don't need to run back we don't need to run back World Series talk right now. People know.
I will hit you with this quick question because I was trying to figure out, okay, well, who would have
Sorry,
the
guys, I gotta
default
get water. My
assumption
throat is-
been? Like who would have, like who was youngest is where my brain was going. Like who'd you expect the most partying to be out of? Like Josh Young, I guess should have been on our list given his
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech roots and
Yeah.
being 25. Nate Lowe's 28,
I think
2
there's
years younger than Natalie's.
there's a big religious element too. On the team, like Evan Carter, like 21, 22, a very religious guy.
Oh yeah, obviously Evan Carter, young as hell too. Yeah.
Yeah,
good point.
there is a lot of that. So hey, good for them. Would have loved for them to do. I was trying to think like, could they pull off a Dallas parade and then a Fort Worth parade, or is that just a really silly idea? You can only have one parade,
Why
right?
would you?
I don't know, because if you do it in Dallas, the people in Fort Worth are going to get mad. It's Arlington's like right in between. It almost makes more sense to do Fort Worth. Fort Worth's got a better downtown
No.
anyway.
No.
Okay.
But those teams don't like the Cowboys exist in Arlington for game day. Every other day of the week they exist in Frisco. It used to be a different community in the area. And it used to even be Dallas. So like you can understand how multiple places could claim the Cowboys. And I assume a Cowboys parade would happen where?
Well, luckily,
Frisco?
luckily we don't have to worry about that. You know,
Right. But still, like hypothetically, like I guess it's Frisco.
You're right. They would probably do that. There's probably something written into a contract somewhere, development of the star, that any victory parade will be in Frisco. That's
Or
a
Fair
great point.
Park just because of size. But like Arlington, I mean, the Rangers have only been Arlington is my point. Like it wouldn't have made sense for them to leave their place and come back.
Fair.
And I apologize. I was just vamping there because I pulled up a window and I couldn't tell if Dylan was back or not. So, my
Oh
bad.
no, he's back.
I'm back, baby. That was sorry. That was rough. I didn't want to cough my way through the rest of the episode, so I had to step away for a moment. Excuse me.
Did you guys see Ryan Day's brothers now getting dragged into this sign stealing thing?
I love what's going on up there.
It's really fun to watch it from afar, isn't it?
Not having any stake in the game. It's fun to watch. I still don't know how serious this situation is, but it doesn't seem like it should be all that bad to me. But it seems like it could be some pretty hefty penalties handed out.
Yeah, forgive me here, as now I'm encountering some technical difficulties because why wouldn't I have this? Turns out the New York Post, a lot of pop-ups, freezing my ish here. No, well, I think it's bad, but like it's now kind of leaked into Ohio State because The claim is that Ohio State has led this investigation, and that Ryan Day's brother, who is a private investigator in New Hampshire, his little
They
firm.
have vertigo.
I'm sorry,
He's not a PGA golfer.
Jason Day.
That's a
is
Jason Day joke.
Vertigo
Yes,
reference.
he does have vertigo.
How do you know that?
I don't know how I know anything, man. Sorry, it was
So,
not worth it.
Jason Day deep
Day's-
cuts.
Ryan Day leading this investigation. That is relevant.
So
Go ahead.
Ryan Day was asked about this, and instead of, if it wasn't true, he was like, "There's no truth to that. Let's move on." He said, "No comment," which adds a little fuel to the fire here. It seems like there is something to it.
So you're probably wondering, well, why does it matter who initiated this investigation? Blah blah blah. Well, the claim in quotes that there is some hacking going on, hacking of Michigan's, Connor Stallions. Which every time I say it, I have to think about it because it just doesn't seem like a real person's name.
Yeah.
But it is. He resigned, by the way. If there's some hacking involved, this is going to get pretty juicy, and there's going to be a little bit of a fallout. This could get you run if you're at Ohio State.
What was allegedly hacked?
I think the allegation is his Connor Stallion's computer,
Files.
his files, his
that were in the
data,
computer.
Okay.
database, hard drives, things of that nature.
Okay.
You familiar with this?
They got into the cloud, or
Cloud.
something?
They might have gotten into the cloud.
Okay. Be careful with the cloud out there, guys. Don't put pictures up in there that you might want back at some point.
A lot of people learned that about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of World Series and people I was proud for. Is it bad that when I think of Connor Stallions, my brain goes to the guy from David, you'll appreciate this. Homeland. Kerry Matheson's
Brody?
potentially autistic, but no, not Brody. The other one. The guy who's apartment had nothing in it. He was kind of just Colin or Quinn. Yeah, Quinn from Homeland. That's who I think of as Connor Stallions.
Okay. I'm not sure. Wait, how did you describe him?
I don't know.
What the
The apartment, they showed his apartment. It was completely bare. He was one of those freaks, just a hitman.
I thought it was just because I thought he's just a real off the grid type.
Exactly.
He
That's
never
what I'm
knows
thinking
where he
Connor
might
Stallions in my head.
lay his head down to sleep because he might have his next mission. Homeland was really good for
Anyways.
a minute there. No, this is juicy. I'm not dialed into all of the Michigan fan, big Michigan blogs that are putting stuff out there. I feel like there's a lot of misinformation put out there intentionally to kind of take some of the heat off. Apparently, there's a number of Big Ten coaches who want something to be done about this now. I think the NCAA came out and said nothing's going to be done this season. There's still due process, but it is really fun watching it from afar. I'm kind of glad it's not even Big 12 too. We could just watch it and not be involved.
And it adds a really fun storyline for that game.
Yeah.
Michigan,
Oh
Ohio
my
State.
God.
Which is very soon.
Yeah.
I think you touched on a couple things. The other coaches in the Big Ten wanting something done now and NCAA having to follow due process. Michigan came out and said that if the decision by the Big Ten, separate than the NCAA, was to suspend Jim Harbaugh, that they would sue the Big Ten. Seems flimsy, seems like, oh yeah, try it, we'll see you in court type thing. But it likely would create an appeal situation where the suspension would not be able to be enforced. It would just make it messy. I think the theory behind it was that suspending Jim Harbaugh allows the team to continue playing and carrying on without punishing the whole team if they find out next year that the team doesn't deserve to, nothing was founded and they suspended or ruled them ineligible from postseason. That would be a shit show. And if they do nothing and it's found to be true, that'll be a shit show. The fact that this is the number 4 revenue school in the nation, I think adds a lot to the story here
Follow
as far
the
as
money.
athletics revenue. Ohio State being number 1, Penn State being number 9. Michigan's one of the biggest dogs in the nation, but like, I think the heat's going to be intense when it comes to selection committee time. You're going to get people who are all up in their feelings about this, and I'm going to be very salty if like it's on the cusp and they're 4 or 5 type situation.
Do you think it affected their ability to pull away from Purdue over the weekend? I mean, we had our
Purdue's coach
correspondent,
came out and said, "Yeah, they scouted us."
Randy. What do you think, man? I mean, this
They
is
were
tough.
they were scared. I mean, Purdue had them on the ropes pretty much all game. I'm surprised that Michigan was able to sneak out that win.
Yeah. I didn't know. I knew you were doing a bit, but I kept every time you'd send a text, I was like, do I need to actually go in on it, check this game? And I would check the score, and it was
close.
It was not close.
It was close. But,
It was like a 20-point game, which by Michigan standards this year, like is relatively close. Like,
Fair.
I
We
was
had it
being
right where we
serious saying
want
like
them.
Purdue's not getting blown out. And then I switched back after that and it was a 5-possession game
Yeah,
or
Randy
whatever.
sent that in the text, and I was like, "Oh, is that actually a game?" I
Yes.
went to go check the score, and it absolutely just was not a game.
I don't know what game you guys were watching. But
Randy's-
it looked like Michigan was scared there.
You're
for a
watching the
second.
game within the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, did they cover?
I'll just charge it to the game.
Yeah, you really do, man. That's the
Okay.
thing about Dylan. Dylan stands on business.
That's right.
That's something we've learned. Hey, speaking of, T-State's going bowling. Just want to give a big shout out to the Cats down
You
in
see how
San
they
Marcos.
celebrated, right?
They jumped in the river. Classic Texas State. Can I tell you a little fun fact about me, the Dave man? I've never jumped in that river.
Have you really not?
Not there.
I
Not
have-
even like while going floating?
Not
That's not an entry point for floating.
not at the
yeah,
Sewell
I
Park.
guess it's like what, a third or halfway through, right?
I have a few times,
Did you do it when you? Oh, you didn't graduate from there.
but I did it just recreationally.
Really? See,
Mhm.
nobody was like really doing that when I like it. People went out there, but none of my friends were ever like, "Let's go to Sewell Park
Yeah,
and just
I would-
throw down a blanket and throw a frisbee." With
I would
Frisbee
just
Dan.
drink a bunch of natties and just jump in with my frat cruisers on.
You could have taken them off.
Nah, that would have been less frat. Randy, tell him, man.
You didn't have the Flofers, man? That'd been perfect.
Nah, I have my
Flofers.
frat cruisers on.
It was about 2 years later. Your boy had the Flofers. I own those. I thought it was the coolest fucking dude on the planet, and some hot red.
You bought
SMU
Flofers?
Well, they're a
You-
different brand.
you were-
Floats
you
with
were
a
the
Z.
one.
You bought
Floats with a
Flof.
Z
You
from-
bought something Flofer
You brought
related.
you bought floating loafers. Let's just be clear here.
1000%.
God.
Lost him that same float trip. Terrible
excuse me.
decision.
Frat on, good sir.
Hey, from our family to yours, frat on, good sir. Yeah, we're
That
going
was an
bowling.
obnoxious
No kid, it was
20-something-year-old.
frat
Like,
like that.
I think right now we're slated potentially for the Boca Raton Bowl.
That's sick.
Yeah, I
isn't that bad?
no, dude. Look, I'm not. I'm not. I understand what this means and what it doesn't mean. What it definitely does. What it does not mean is that I will be going to the game because I will probably have a 2 or 3 week old at home. So Daddy's not going anywhere. So
Aw.
part of me kind of hopes it's not at like a destination, like a Bahamas Bowl type thing. I kind of, no offense to our friends in Frisco, we just talked at length about. I kind of hope it's like a Frisco Bowl sitch where it's like, oh yeah, I can watch this at home and not feel bad.
I mean, it is notably on a date in which I will also be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they are predicted to play SMU if that does come to pass. So if that happens, I've sworn off all Frisco Bowl games, but I would potentially attend it if it meant like David's first hours in public after becoming dad of 2.
We'll see if I can get a 24-hour window where I can go bowling. You know what I mean?
I feel you, player.
Dylan, you
Um,
went to the Texas game.
I did. I stand by what I said. Malik is not ready. I saw it in the last game that I watched. He's the kind of guy, quarterback, where he's got the physical tools and he can make some good throws. When confidence is soaring, he's a good quarterback. One little thing goes wrong, one little mental mistake, and he just kind of unravels. And that happened in the second quarter, and he never got it back. So Texas got out to a nice lead. He had some big throws. He had a deep ball to A.D. Mitchell. It looked really good. Then he just made a couple boneheaded plays, and he just he's not ready. I think Quinn's coming back this week or next, so I'm not too concerned about long term Malik being in the game. But Texas was lucky to get out of that game with the dub. Very, very lucky. At a block, they had a punt get blocked there in the second quarter, and some just really bad turnovers. Very ugly game from Texas midway through second quarter on, but they found a way to pull it out. And as poorly as the Texas offense was playing in the latter half of that game, and it was pretty bad, the decision to go for it on fourth down and overtime by Kansas State, really bad decision, I thought, because Texas got the ball to start overtime, did nothing with it. They had to kick a long field goal to get 3 points. Kansas State got the ball down to the 6, and they went 4 plays and out from there. But if they had just kicked the field goal and put the ball back in Malik's hands, I think that favored Kansas State. I thought they should have taken the points there. Took a hell of a fourth down stop.
Yeah, I didn't really. I took a little issue with some K-State play calling there
Yeah.
at the end. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be like, no, fuck yeah, go for the win. That's awesome. But I had the same thought. And I'm like, dude, Texas offense has done nothing.
Yeah, that second down play in overtime from Kansas State from when they were like inside the 10 there, they had a guy open. Luckily, Tavondre Sweat, who's been playing defensive tackle, who's made himself a lot of money this year. He's been playing his ass off. He batted the ball down at the line. That would have been the ball game.
Yeah.
And then I think it was second down, maybe even third down. And then that last play there, we saw how that happened, how that ended. He got flushed and just went down, threw the ball up. Very lucky. It was a very tense environment. The crowd was awesome, by the way. It was a nice day in Austin. Fun game to go to, but some white knuckling at the end there.
Mm. What, KJ?
What?
He just, I don't know.
Nothing.
KJ reacted to what you said.
That's a term.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called second base.
Okay.
Oh my
Elsewhere
God.
in college football, USC's finally fired their defensive coordinator after giving up
Why?
50 points again.
Yeah.
And scoring 40 plus points and losing. They lost to Washington. Washington's definitely got questions, but I mean, USC scored on everybody. That's going to be the weird thing here. Like, Lincoln Riley's offenses are doing what they need to be doing. It's not impossible, or I shouldn't say it's not impossible. It's not like normal to find offenses producing at that high a level and defenses that just shut people down left and right. It doesn't happen for Bama. It doesn't happen for Ole Miss. Like, it's just kind of a byproduct of when your offense like has 3 and outs, is on the field, or your defense is on the field quite a bit, but still USC's defense wasn't getting it done. It was ugly. Grinch is out.
I can't get past what you just did. You tried to pull on the show. It's a family show. I'm sorry. Yeah, is it ever a good sign when your Heisman quarterback is in tears on the sideline and it's not injury related? It's just like, we're fucking doing this again.
So they caught him crying during the game too, and then after with his family. Is that correct? Or
wasn't
are you just talking about just when he jumped up with his family?
He wasn't just crying. He was like convulsing,
Sobbing,
sobbing.
yes.
Dylan, you said that if you were an NFL scout, that this would affect his position on your board.
I don't remember saying that.
We were talking about it recently, right before the show.
Oh, Dylan's big board trade.
Dylan's big board. Dylan doesn't take kindly to sobbers.
I don't agree with that take. I know it's not Dylan's take.
I
Thank you,
actually
KJ,
have
for
not seen
clarifying.
that take, but somebody out there has that.
Oh, for sure it's been out there. But
Maybe Gil Brandt, the late the great.
that, like it or not, Caleb Williams was, seemed like he was living to cry.
Okay,
It's
good. That's good.
It doesn't matter to me. I just probably take issue with what we saw at the Utah game emotionally from Caleb Williams at the end of the game, what we're seeing here in these big, highly leveraged games, you want somebody with more of a steady hand emotionally to be the leader of your team. I'm not saying the crying bothers me. I'm saying the like apathetic, we got this confidence that they had late in the Utah game before it was over. And then this is not like you weren't going to the college football playoff. You weren't going to go to the Rose Bowl. This didn't change anything substantial for USC in terms of the trajectory of their season. You didn't have somebody get hurt. Like, not saying it didn't matter, but like, what are you crying for? We're here.
It was.
You played your butt off. This isn't a senior night. Like, I just didn't add up.
I was a bit confused. The crying stuff. I mean, again, I don't care. It's crying's whatever. You cry, you cry. He's passionate about the game. But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's week 9. So football left to be played. You didn't, like you said, you didn't lose out on the college football playoff on that game. It's just like, what? Washington's good. You lost to a good football team. It's tough, but
Facts.
I don't know.
2 more games of note. LSU Bama. I was the one guy to pick LSU. I thought looked good for a minute.
Bama's low key like the hottest team in college football right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad Texas caught them early.
Yeah. That was impressive. I didn't see it going that way.
I'm standing by my point of this is like the least hyped, highly ranked LSU Bama game that we've had in quite a while. It delivered. It was exciting to watch, but it did not move the needle for me of games to watch that day, even though it was, we talked about on Thursday, like a bunch of big games. Bedlam took that slate for me. So they're both 2:30, right? Am I getting that wrong?
No, LSU Bama was that night, I believe.
Then I'm completely wrong there. I don't know what the hell I was watching instead.
Washington USC was on up against
that's
it.
what it was.
And that's what I was tuned into. But no, Bedlam was inexplicably a 2:30 Dennis time kickoff. And got to say, good game. Really good game. Shout out to the Pokes. You took down the goalpost and you threw it in the water.
That's big for them, man. That's the last time those two teams are going to play for the foreseeable future. Like, that's scoreboard.
That's major scoreboard. A team that has owned you in the in that they've. I mean, it's a rivalry, but it's incredibly lopsided, right?
Yeah.
So that is cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. And Oklahoma State's got dudes, man.
Ollie Gordon.
Yeah.
He's for real.
He is for real. Dylan Gabriel, wasn't great. I don't know what.
47-year-old Alan Bowman.
Yeah. OU, since playing Texas, has just really just kind of fallen apart.
You guys effectively ended their season. How does that feel?
We did? What do you mean? Oh.
Yeah. You guys gave them the false confidence.
Yeah.
And then they kind of like sat back like, well, we can just fucking sleepwalk through conference.
It's like they won that game. Yeah, it's like they won that game. Like, all right, the rest of it's gonna be cake. They got tattoos to commemorate the win and everything. And then
that's a tough look.
Struggled against Houston, I believe. Lost to Kansas, and then lost Bedlam.
Yeah,
they're pretty much out of the conference championship consideration at this point.
Okay, Brick, off the top of your head, can you tell me? I know Texas is in the driver's seat, but is it Texas Okie State right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Followed by Kansas and then Oklahoma. But in conference, both Kansas and Oklahoma have 2 losses.
Yeah. Texas.
So they are in a and they don't play each other. I should add that.
Texas is through with the difficult part of their schedule. Anything can happen. Take nothing for granted. But they have TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech to finish the regular season.
Oh, man. Okay.
Oklahoma
on
State,
paper.
At the Dan Registers in Orlando, at Houston, and at the Mormons the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's looking like Oklahoma State, Texas, looking that way. I'm not saying it's going to be that way. Y'all chill out.
Why'd you sound like Travis Kelce right
there? I was just emphasizing recency bias. David, you were pointing out how much of or I guess maybe Dylan, you were pointing out how dominant Oklahoma's been in this rivalry. I'm like, man, I feel like OK State's won some. Yeah, they won this year. They won in 01. They won in 2014. But they are 91 wins in favor of Oklahoma, 20 for Oklahoma
Yeah,
State.
that's
So
very
this is
lopsided.
definitely a career extender for Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
Because he could have easily gotten embarrassed here and all that, good faith that he won after beating K-State, Kansas, West Virginia, and Cincinnati would have meant nothing
Yeah.
and still been out the door.
True. But when he does go out the door, he'll have a show on Newsmax waiting for him. That's not completely fair. The OAN shirt.
OAN.
I don't even know. Not fair.
One shirt, one time.
One time. Just a shirt, dude. All right, let's run it back.
Let's run it back, the segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. KJ the Gut Crusher Ellis
Jesus, dude.
on the mic. Randy will still jack, but will simply edge during the month of November. That's
Come
big.
on.
Dave broke down some boxes over the weekend.
Not dirty.
Corey Seager just hits piss missiles. Jason Day has vertigo. Be careful with the cloud, guys. Michigan was lucky to pull away from Purdue over the weekend. Dylan stands on business. And finally, KJ tried to horn up this failing program once again. And that concludes Run It Back.
I don't know if that looks right. I did it left-handed for some reason. I felt like I was putting up the wolf pack over here. There we go.
There you go.
Horns up.
Hey, did you like the photo of CD and Jalen Hurts throwing horns down after the game yesterday?
Did they really?
You just get past it.
God.
Come on.
It's- okay.
It's just like,
Like, that's their official, like,
it's a weird deal.
OU
isn't it?
sign.
It's a weird deal. Shout out T-Man.
Guess it's not cool to do
Real,
like
real quick before we depart, and I'm sorry I didn't bring this up in the last segment. We mentioned this on Thursday, so people might not have heard it. Go to YouTube and hear it, but it's a tremendous point. If you're Brent Yormack or the Big 12, remaining members, you got one of the two down. You are rooting for TCU, Texas Tech, or
Yeah.
Iowa State so that you have a Big 12 championship with members that will actually be there next year. That's a tremendous point. I think Dylan or Dan made it on Thursday. Hadn't considered it, but now I'm interested.
Well,
Yeah.
something to keep an eye on. I've got a friend, a Texas fan, who is very, very dialed in, and he's normally not like officials guy, but he's keeping tabs, and apparently this is a thing via Horn Sports on the amount of calls going Texas's way and the calls going the other team's way. Apparently, the discrepancy, if you believe this, what he's saying, is there. So I'm just saying, be careful. Be careful these last 3 games, especially that final one. I don't know.
Yeah.
There could be some tomfoolery around.
There's a pretty blatant one against Xavier Worthy that wasn't called.
Yeah,
On
that
a
was
deep-
noted as
On
well.
a deep ball. Yeah, it's whatever.
It's whatever.
They're
Sorry for the
8-1.
bonus sports with the boys there, but
That's okay. No,
burned into my head.
no, that's okay. All right. Well, we'll see you later.
Bye.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.